Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Nowadays Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Roscoe, and boy, do I have a video for y'all today. It went crazy, and I'm talking about mayhem in the Senate hearing with Mr. Pete Hegseth. And if y'all like drama, if y'all like craziness, and the things that y'all watch, you gotta tune in to these Senate hearings. And I'm telling you, I don't miss a beat when it comes to them because I like them. I like people to be held accountable for the things that they do, right? Especially when you're in the White House and you got control over some important parts of the government. So we just gonna get right into it. Mr. Tim Kaine and Pete Hegseth. Oh my God. Let's get right into it, y'all.
Senator Kaine.
Thank you, Mr. Hegseth. I'm looking forward to this opportunity to talk. I want to return to the incident that you referenced a minute ago that occurred in Monterey, California in October 2017. At that time, you were still married to your second wife, correct?
I believe so.
And you had just fathered a child by a woman who would later become your third wife, correct?
Senator, I was falsely charged,
Hey,
fully
you-
investigated and completely cleared.
So you think you were completely cleared because you committed no crime. That's your definition of cleared. You had just fathered a child 2 months before by a woman that was not your wife. I am shocked that you would stand here and say you're completely cleared. Can you so casually cheat on a second wife and cheat on the mother of a child that had been born 2 months before, and you tell us you are completely cleared? How is that a complete clear?
Senator, her child's name is Gwendolyn Hope Hegseth, and she's a child of God, and she's
Look, I'm telling y'all, shots fired, shots fired, shots fired. Duck, hi. Tim Kaine went off from the jump. And we're talking about personal, I guess you can say ad hominem attacks. Is this an ad hominem attack? This is personal, so yeah, I guess it is. But in these Senate hearings, it seems like there's no holds barred. People can say whatever they want. I mean, he went for the jugular, talking about the man's wife. I mean, wow. And people probably wondering, like, what does this have to do with politics? Right. And I think more when the video goes on, you will see like how it's a connection to what his sentiment is. Right. But I told y'all, right, this is going to get crazy. Let's get right back into it.
7 years old.
And she
I'm
was,
glad
and
she's here.
you cheated on the mother of that child less than 2 months after that daughter was born, didn't you?
Those were false charges.
Well,
It was
no,
fully investigated, and I was completely cleared. And I'm so
you've
grateful
you've
for the marriage
admitted-
I have to this
No,
amazing woman behind me.
you've admitted that you had sex at that hotel in October 2017. You said it was consensual, isn't that correct?
Anything,
You've admitted that it was consensual and you were still married and you just had a child by another woman.
again,
How do you explain your
completely
judgment?
false charges against me,
You no,
fully
wait.
investigated, and I was
You-
completely cleared.
You have admitted that you had sex while you were married to wife 2 after you just had fathered a child by wife 3. You've admitted that. Now, if it had been a sexual assault, that would be disqualifying to be Secretary of Defense, wouldn't it?
It was a false claim then and a false claim now.
If it had been a sexual assault, that would be disqualifying to be Secretary of Defense, wouldn't it?
That was a false claim.
So
Just
you
talking
can't,
about a hypothetical.
so you can't tell me whether someone who has committed a sexual assault is disqualified from being Secretary of Defense?
Senator, I know in my instance, and I'm talking about my instance only, it was a false claim.
But you acknowledge
And
you
it was
cheat, but
fully
you acknowledge
investigated.
that you cheated on your wife and that you cheated on the woman by whom you had just fathered a child. You have admitted that.
I will allow your words to speak for themselves.
You're not retracting that today. That's good. I assume that
Oh
each of your
my
weddings you
God. Now, mind y'all, this lady, right, his new wife is right behind him. So you can't imagine like what's going on in her mind, right? This is crazy, right? And Tim Kaine is being very like emphatically candid about this situation, right? And he's trying to test the judgment of Mr. Pete Hegseth, right? He's not testing it, but he's trying to examine it to the point where he wants to know if someone else were to ran for this position, would accusations like this make him or disqualify him or make him more like, you got to think about it like that. Would accusations like this disqualify someone who's running for government, right? And I think what Pete is saying, hey, I was acquitted from all of these things and things of that nature. This is getting crazy. The ladies in the back, I can't imagine what's going on in her head. She's probably like, oh, don't make me think about this stuff again. I've already went through it. The man cheated on his wife and had a baby with the one that he was with, the mistress, and then you're in office. Like, it's just, it looks bad, right? What do y'all think? Okay, this is funky, but nobody's perfect. All right, we're not perfect. Okay.
Pledged to be faithful to your wife. You've taken an oath to do that, haven't you?
Senator, as I've acknowledged to everyone in this committee, not a perfect person, not claiming to
But
be.
no, I just asked a simple question. You've taken an oath, like you would take an oath to be Secretary of Defense in all of your weddings, to be faithful to your wife. Is that correct?
I have failed in things in my life, and thankfully I'm redeemed by my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
In finalizing divorces from your first and second wives, were there non-disclosure agreements in connection with those divorces?
Senator, not that I'm aware of.
If there were, would you agree to release those first and second wives from any confidentiality agreement?
Senator, it's not something I'm aware of.
But if there were, you would agree to release them from a confidentiality agreement?
Senator, that's not my responsibility.
Did you ever engage in any acts of physical violence against any of your wives?
Senator, absolutely not.
But you would agree with me that if someone had committed physical violence against a spouse, that would be disqualifying to serve as Secretary of Defense, correct?
Senator, absolutely not have I ever done that.
You would agree that that would be a disqualifying offense, would you not?
Senator, you're talking about a hypothetical.
I don't think it's a hypothetical. Violence against spouses occurs every day. And if you as a leader are not capable of saying that physical violence against a spouse should be a disqualifying fact for being secretary of the most powerful nation in the world, you're demonstrating an astonishing lack of judgment. The incident in Monterey led to a criminal charge, a criminal investigation, a private settlement, and a cash payment to the woman who filed the complaint. And there was also a non-disclosure agreement, correct?
It was a confidential settlement agreement off of a nuisance lawsuit.
Right. During an interview, you claimed that you settled the matter because you were worried that if it became public, it might hurt your career. Do you maintain that you were blackmailed?
Senator, I maintain that false claims were made against me. And ultimately,
Your attorney
those
used
false
the
claims,
phrase,
I have the opportunity to attest my innocence in those false claims.
but you didn't reveal any of this to President Trump or the transition team as they were considering you to be nominated for Secretary of Defense. You didn't reveal the action. You didn't reveal the criminal complaint. You didn't reveal the criminal investigation. You didn't reveal the settlement. You didn't reveal the cash payment. Why didn't you inform the commander-in-chief and the transition team of this very relevant event?
Senator, I've appreciated every part of the process with the transition team. They have been open and honest with me. We've had great conversations between the two of us. And I appreciate the opportunity that President-elect Trump has given me.
You chose not to reveal this, right? Because you knew it would hurt your chances. So you chose not to reveal this really important thing to the commander-in-chief and the transition team because you were worried about your chances rather than trying to be candid with the future president of the United States. Are there any other important facts that you chose not to reveal to the president-elect and his team as they were considering you to be Secretary of Defense?
Senator, I sit here before you an open book, as everyone who's watched this process.
With multiple non-disclosure and confidentiality agreements tying the hands of many people who would like to comment to us. Much has been made of your workplace behavior as a leader of nonprofit veterans organizations and as a Fox News contributor. Were you fired from either of the leadership positions with the nonprofits?
I was the leader. I was the CEO of Concerned
I know
Veterans
which
for
ones,
America and
but
the
those
executive
two,
director
were
of
you
Vets for
fired?
Freedom.
Were you fired from either
And I
of
was
them?
never fired from a
Do you have
veterans organization.
non-disclosure agreements with either of those organizations?
Not that I'm aware of, Senator.
Many of your work colleagues have said that you show up for work under the influence of alcohol or drunk.
Now, mind y'all, pay attention to the lady behind Mr. Pete Hegseth. Do you know who that lady is? That's his wife. And I just looked it up. That's his wife with the blonde hair behind him. Notice her face. She is she looks very upset and uncomfortable. I'm gonna play the video. Just look at the lady in the back. Look at the lady in the back.
I know you've denied that, but you would
That.
agree with me, right, that if that was the case, that would be disqualifying for somebody to be Secretary of Defense.
Senator, those are all anonymous false claims, and the totality.
They're not
The
anonymous.
letters
We've
on the
seen-
record here.
They're not anonymous.
On the record, people
We've
who've
seen
worked with me
records with
at
names
Vets for
attached to
Freedom,
them.
Concerned Vets for America, and Fox News
One of
attributing
your
to me being
colleagues
working
said,
hard every day on behalf of
one of
my
your
mission.
colleagues said that you got drunk at an event at a bar and chanted "Kill all Muslims." Another colleague, not anonymous, we have this, said that you took coworkers to a strip club. You were drunk. You tried to dance with strippers. You had to be held off the stage. And one of your employees in that event filed a sexual harassment charge as a result of it. Now, I know you denied these things, but isn't that the kind of behavior that, if true, would be disqualifying for somebody to be Secretary of Defense?
Senator, anonymous false charges.
They're not anonymous. And I'll just conclude and say this to the chairman. You claim that this was all anonymous. We have seen records with names attached to all of these, including the name of your own mother. So don't make this into some anonymous press thing. We have seen multiple names of colleagues consistently throughout your career that have talked about your abusive actions,
Chairman, I think
attitudes,
he's
words,
over
and
his time.
statements
He's
to
way
women.
over his
I
time.
now yield.
And
Wow. Wow. I mean, let's unpack this thing, right? First of all, what are y'all thoughts about this, right? I'm definitely going to let you know mine, okay? Obviously, yes, I enjoy these Senate hearings, but there's a telling truth to this. All right, these people are in charge of running our nation. Let's dig into Mr. Pete Hegseth, okay? He's been in charge of Secretary of War since May, I believe, right? His predecessor is I think his name is Austin Lloyd. He worked for the Biden administration. But this is what I want to look up, okay? Because if these accusations are true, this is crazy, okay? So let's go to Google. Let's check this guy out, all right? Let's see what this guy is about, okay? Wow, it's already up there. Okay, we're going to check this accusation out. It said, Pete Hegseth has faced multiple allegations from former colleagues and whistleblowers regarding alcohol consumption on the job during his time at Fox News. And as a veteran group leader, reports detailed him arriving for work hungover and being intoxicated at professional events, which Hegseth has largely denied, calling them smears. Wow. Okay. I mean, if these things are true, if these accusations are true, I think it's important for us not to ignore them and really take it serious in a way, because these are people who are running our country and are in charge of the most paramount decisions. Actually, he's in charge of war. So that's very, very important. And we see how that's going on today, especially at the gas pump. It's just crazy, right? And as we know, Donald Trump is not playing this year when it comes to firing some of his subordinates. As you guys know, Kristi Noem, who was in charge of she was the Secretary of Homeland, basically in charge of ISIS, right? ISIS. No, ICE. I'm tripping. She better not be in charge of ISIS. She was in charge of ICE, right? And after some killings on the street, some modern day lynchings on the streets of Minneapolis, she was called to, and y'all seen, and I got a video. I don't have a video on her yet. I'm gonna do a video on her Senate hearing. Her Senate hearing was just as crazy, but she got fired. Donald Trump fired her in March of this year, and shortly after, Mrs. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, he got fired as well in April, back to back. So I don't know, Mr. Pete Hegseth, you might be on your way up out of here too. Okay, let's look up some more accusations. Did he beat his wife? Let's see. No, Pete Hegseth did not admit to beating his wife. And his second wife, Samantha Hegseth, had denied the physical abuse occurred in their marriage, while at 2025 affidavit from a former sister-in-law alleged abuse. The Hegseth signed a 2021 court document during their divorce stating neither was a victim of domestic abuse. Okay. Look, y'all, this is, you guys might not think it's serious, but I think it's serious, because when you really try to examine it from a citizen's perspective, someone who is paying taxes, right? You want the right person for the job, especially someone who's in charge of war, right? And if his temperament isn't, mature when it comes to having that position, he doesn't need to have the position in the first place. And we've seen the blunders from Pam Bondi and Kristi Noem from their Senate hearings. I think Donald Trump is looking at them like, y'all making me look like a fool at these Senate hearings. And if you go to these Senate hearings making me look like a fool, I'm gonna end up firing y'all. And based on what we just saw, Tim Kaine put belt to ass. I mean, he spanked that ass with his wife being right behind him. Okay, listen. So, and then you have the accusation of some of his colleagues, and Tim Kaine said that these are not anonymous reports. These are people with names that we can look up who said these things, saying kill all Muslims at a bar. Come on now. Nah, that's not okay. And if it's true, he should be removed, because that's pure racist. That's one of the most like horrific slanders that you could call kill all Muslims. I mean, that's just crazy, right? He should be removed for that, if it's true, if they can find some sort of evidence, right? But hey, what do y'all think? All right, do y'all think he's doing a good job? Do y'all think he should be removed? He's in charge of war, right? And we all know that we're in the Middle East right now in Iran. Do y'all think he's doing a good job? Do y'all think he should be removed? If not, put it in the comment section. If so, put it in the comment section. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm your boy, Jay Rocco. Thank you for tuning in. We out. Peace.